Anytime we get fights after a week off, it is inevitable that the fight card's going to change, and UFC Vegas 107 took that to the next level. We've had 3 fights completely canceled. We now have 2 brand new matchups and only 11 fights on this card total, but that doesn't mean that we can't go ahead and build ourselves a winning DraftKings fantasy lineup. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to break down the entire UFC Vegas 107 fight card, giving you my picks, predictions, and DraftKings fantasy plays. While I'm going to sit here and give you some of the best insight you've ever had in your entire life, you could also go to the website and use the tools. One of the tools we have on our website, wewantpicks.com, is called the Event Simulator. What this tool does is it simulates every single fight on the card 100,000 times. I just clicked Run Simulator. What this is doing is it's bringing historical DraftKings information, historical grappling and striking stats, and it's simulating the fights 100,000 times and then building projections based off of that. If I just select Aaron Blanchfield here, this is saying of all the 100,000 simulations, obviously there's losses in there as well, it is saying they expect Aaron Blanchfield to score on average 106 fantasy points. But we can expand on this as well. It doesn't have to just be DraftKings Fantasy. This could be FanDuel as well. If you play FanDuel Fantasy, she's projected to get 104 on average across these simulations. If I want to grab Zach Reese, for example, and I want to look at how many takedowns this is expecting him to get, well, it's a very low number because he doesn't have any takedowns, so we're at 0.01. But if we move to significant strikes, well, now we have a very different number. The Event Simulator is very, very helpful for DraftKings Fantasy. It will also build the lineups for you if we just click Build Lineups, but also can help you find other spots like bets. We have a tool for the DraftKings Optimizer aficionados. If you don't know what a DraftKings Optimizer is, this will build DraftKings Fantasy lineups for you. It'll be preloaded with projections and scoring. And you click a few buttons and it'll spit out those lineups. It'll spit out 150. But if you've never used one before and you just want to dabble and dip your toes into the DraftKings fantasy waters, we have the industry first beginner mode. This is the very first optimizer in this space that instead of expecting you to know how to use the tool and expecting you to have Rain Man math at your fingertips, it will do all of it for you and just ask you very simple, logical, easy questions. If you know what TurboTax is, it's the exact same experience. It will just ask you questions. The first question is there anybody you do not want in any lineups whatsoever? You think this person loses 100 out of 100 times and scores almost no points whatsoever. Then it'll walk you through, ask me, how many favorites do you want? How many underdogs do you like? Which ones? You answer a few of those questions, it'll build the lineups for you. And these are not the first tools to ever do this. The DraftKings beginner mode quite literally is the first, but there are other optimizers out there. There are other simulators out there, but none of them are in a $10 package. For example, let's take a look at SaberSim. SaberSim is a simulator. It does what ours does. They all do the same thing, except SaberSim is going to charge you $100 a month for the starter pack. $100 a month. Ours is $10. And it includes the optimizer. If you want to go to Roto Grinders is a very large company whose only thing is fantasy. If I want to do the single sport pricing just for MMA, $50 a month. Guys, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? It is $10 a month at WeWantPicks.com for the Event Simulator, for the Optimizer, for the picks, the bets, the tools, everything. $10 a month, one package, no upsell, no bullshit, no corporate greed. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. It's $10. And you get 4 events, not just one, because it's per month. Let's go ahead and dive into this fight card. I opened talking about all the dramatics. Oban Elliott, bang, that fight canceled. He's gone. They moved his opponent. Ko, boom, gone. Visa issues. He's out. Medeiros, boom, gone, out. I think he's hurt. He said, oh no, he was sick. He said he couldn't train as well as he needed to train because he was sick. Good on him, not just taking the fight to take the fight. So these 3 fights scrapped. We have 2 brand new fights. We have some new opponents. And we're going to break down this card accordingly. Let's start at the bottom, work our way to the top. We're going to start with Rayanne dos Santos. Yeah. She can't find a win in the UFC. She's been trying, can't do it. But she's still a tremendous favorite here. A $9,300 favorite. You, in no world, should spend that money. I do think Rayanne dos Santos wins this fight. She's going to move forward. She's going to look to grapple, and we haven't seen a ton of that yet in the UFC, but the reality is she has 14 wins outside of the UFC, and if you just work your way through the fight tape and the history and watch her fight in the regional scene, you'll see that she's an aggressive grappler. She'll come forward, she'll get striking with you, and then she'll look to get it to the ground. On the ground, she's got good control, and she will look for submission. She's got great pressure, and she'll bring the fight to you. She lost the Toledo Allan card. It is what it is. That girl is just a little bowling ball of jiu-jitsu. And then I think she beat Pooja Tamar. I think this was a bad decision. She landed more strikes, did more things. I thought she won that fight. But didn't. The reality is, even if they gave her a win, that would have been 65 points on a $9,100 salary. She doesn't score well at all, even if you give her the win in these fights. She is taking on Alice Ardelean. Alice Ardelean's not very good. She's not very good, but she is insanely tough. Alice Ardelean moves forward, gets in your face. She tries to win these fights at all costs, and you're going to see her record is 9-7. But honestly, a couple of those losses are bullshit and quality. She lost to Wei Li Zhang. Okay, that's a very fair loss. She lost to Diana Belbita on the regional scene. That's also a fair loss. Diana's been struggling a little bit, but still a UFC caliber person who has wins at that level. I also think she beat Shauna Bannon. That felt very much like a bullshit decision to me. She did just lose outright to Melissa Martinez. In that fight, it was a reminder of how tough she is. Alice Ardelean will come forward. She'll get in your face. She'll hold you against a cage, try to get a takedown, get her hands going. She's not great at anything. She's got no real power. The technique's not there. But she works her ass off in the cage, and she will fight for your money. Do I think she wins this fight? Probably not. But I do think if you are building multiple lineups and you're chasing those giant payouts, the 150 entry huge payout tournaments, I think Alice Ardelean might need to be in a lineup or two. She scored 48 points in a loss, 40 points in another loss. You add 30 to that, all of a sudden that's 70 points. She covers her salary, and she might be one of the lowest owned underdogs on the slate. I think Alice Ardelean loses this fight, but there's certainly a world where she can make it more competitive than we thought and could be worth money in a flyer lineup or two. We have Bolaji with a brand new opponent. He's got a brand spanking new opponent. He was supposed to fight a very good fluid striker. Now he's fighting a short notice, just get in your face wild man. Bolaji's a busy striker. He's a dangerous guy. He's got some power. He's got a good jab. He's got lots of power. And I'm going to keep mentioning the power over and over and over because that is his biggest asset. He doesn't have like the cleanest technique, but he is fast and he hits insanely hard. He will pump that jab, and that will set up the strikes right behind it. Takedown defense is pretty solid. He's got a really fast sprawl. He'll pop right back up and get those hands going again. His biggest issue, though, is pressure can be somewhat problematic for him. If you just pump a jab in his face, and you have him guessing and his head snapping back, he doesn't quite hit that same flow state that you expect him to, given the fact that he's a good striker. Bolaji is coming off that loss to Chris Duncan. He was winning that fight. He was moving forward. He was doing all the things. Then he got sucked into a guillotine. Very unfortunate loss for him. He is priced pretty high at $8,900. And you might say to yourself, that's fair. He's a UFC caliber guy. He has a win in the UFC over Tini Kwamba, who's not terrible. And he's fighting a UFC debut in Mike Aswell. Mike Aswell has 0 wins under the UFC umbrella. He did fight on the Contender Series. That was a loss. The reality is, though, Michael Aswell is a very tough guy, a very durable guy, a very busy guy. Is he the cleaner striker in this matchup? No, I don't think he is. But he's got that forward pressure I mentioned. He will get in your face. He is stepping up on a few days' notice. He's trying to redeem himself in that sort of UFC umbrella. Technically speaking, Dana White Contender Series is not the UFC. It is not. You are not a UFC fighter if you fight in Contender Series. You do not have a UFC contract if you fight in the Contender Series. A completely different promotion. It's at the Apex. It's Dana White, so we kind of mesh that information. So technically speaking, Mike Aswell's never fought in the UFC, but he will be here. Same arena, same cage, different promotion. He is stepping up on short notice, but it doesn't mean he won't be prepared. He was supposed to fight June 22nd for the Fury FC title. That fight obviously scrapped so he can sign with the UFC. I don't know where he was in his training camp. I don't know if he trains year round. I don't know how his weight situation is managed over time. But I do know when you watch him fight, he is tough as nails. He literally does not stop moving forward. The striking defense is not what you want it to be, but it doesn't matter because the offense is insane. He does not have a sort of plan B. He moves forward, gets in your face, throws a million strikes. There is grappling there if you initiate it. He's not going to initiate it. He is a tough guy who works. He never stops. He is priced very affordably. This is the same information I just gave you with Ardelean. Bolaji should win this fight. He should. But Michael Aswell is so tough and so durable. I don't see Bolaji finishing him, so I'm not going to spend the $8,900 on Bolaji. And all of a sudden, Michael Aswell in Las Vegas, where they just want forward pressure and they want to see somebody trying to finish a fight. If this dude is moving forward, getting in Oki's face, never stopping, it is quite possible that Mike Aswell squeaks out a close win in a UFC debut. It's very possible. And at $6,800, again, just like the Ardelean breakdown, let the optimizer have a little bit of exposure. If I go to the optimizer here and we go back to the standard mode and we go down, you find whatever fighter you want to talk about. Let's just do Macy Chiasson because that's where my mouth is. You can set minimum exposure and maximum. So you can reduce this maximum, say, hey, I only want in 10% of my lineups, I want exposure, right? I want a little bit of Michael Aswell here. Just a hint, just a touch. So you can go ahead and mess with those numbers because I do think there is a world where he can win this fight. That takes us to Andreas Gustafsson. And he is taking on Trevin Giles, another new matchup. Gustafsson was supposed to fight somebody else. Trevin Giles is stepping up on short notice. And it's going to be an interesting matchup here because while Gustafsson is not a proven UFC entity, Trevin Giles doesn't exactly have those high-quality wins either. Andreas Gustafsson is a Contender Series guy. Solid grappler. He's got some actual wrestling skills. Like most wrestlers, he's going to come forward. He will bomb away, throw a ton of strikes at you, try to get it to the ground. Unlike some wrestlers, he has very real power in his hands. And if he gets you to the ground, he's going to soften you up with elbows. He's going to touch you up. He's going to try to do damage and then look for a submission. He's always looking for a finish both on the feet and on the ground. He's taking on Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles is a guy that has had a very high-level slate of competition, but not quite the wins. For example, he fought Mike Malott. Mike Malott's a good fighter. He lost to Mike Malott. He fought Prates. He had some early success. He got knocked out by Prates. He fought Bonfim. He got submitted by Bonfim. He beat wrestling and jiu-jitsu nerd Preston Parsons. He beat Kosei. He lost to Michael Morales. He lost to Dricus du Plessis. This says he beat Roman Dolidze. I'm just going to say this is an error. He did not win that fight. That was a bad decision. This should be a loss. So if we look at the wins and the losses, he loses to Gerald Mearshart. Like, he hasn't beat anybody very good. And people picking Trevin Giles are mostly relying on this slate of competition as the example. And it's not the worst logic in the world. Like, yeah, hey, of course Trevin's got a bunch of losses. He fought Michael Morales and Dricus du Plessis. Like, of course. And that is sound logic. I agree with you. But at the same time, we have not seen him get a good win. 80% of the people he has beaten are no longer in the UFC. They're gone. So Trevin Giles is a guy that's got a really good jab, and he's wildly athletic. And that athleticism, that jab, has gotten him pretty far. It kept him competitive in some fights. It had him win a few others. But in short notice fight, I believe, I could be wrong here, he is still a full-time police officer. So he just got the call, was like, fuck it, I'll throw in some PTO. Let me just lose a couple of pounds to get on weight, and I'll fight. I don't know what that's going to look like here. Andreas Gustafsson is also an unproven entity. He does not have a real win yet in the UFC. Trevin Giles is proven in that we have seen him many, many times, but he hasn't beat sort of a high-caliber fighter. Is Andreas Gustafsson a high-caliber fighter? I don't fucking know. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm probably going to fade both sides of this fight. Gustafsson's going to be the pick just because he had the full fight camp. He does have very real power in his hands. Trevin's been knocked out. He's got very good jiu-jitsu. Trevin's been submitted. So Andreas Gustafsson should win. I'm going to pick him to win, but UFC debut, not happening. Trevin Giles, I know a lot of you love him as a dog. If you do, then go for it. The reality is, though, he doesn't score well in his wins. 73 points against Preston Parsons, 58 against Kosei. Those are wins. He's $7,800. He would not have covered his salary in those wins. So I'm probably going to fade both sides. Gustafsson because of the risk. Trevin Giles, decent underdog for sure, but he doesn't score well when he wins these fights. Then we have Jordan Leavitt taking on Kurt Holobaugh. This is a fight where the community has decided they don't like my opinion here. I'll tell you right now. I feel, okay, I have an opinion. Everybody's got an opinion. Some are right, some are wrong. This may well be wrong. But I'm not going to back down. I think Jordan Leavitt's a bit of a jiu-jitsu nerd. And I don't think his jiu-jitsu nerdery is going to be enough here. He's an old school grappler. His jiu-jitsu is very, very, very good, but his takedowns kind of suck. His striking kind of sucks. And you guys can't deny that. You can't sit here and be like, Angelo, that's not true. He's got phenomenal takedown. No, he doesn't. If you were going to lean on the Paddy fight, he took down Paddy a few times. Dude, this was 3 years ago when Paddy's takedown defense sucked, and he got submitted in that fight. I don't know if Jordan Leavitt's going to be able to come forward and get a whole bunch of takedowns, and that's basically what he needs to do because he is not a good striker. He is not a great wrestler. So if Jordan Leavitt can get this fight to the ground, he certainly can win. Most likely decision if he does get it to the ground. But we're talking about Kurt Holobaugh here. Couple of things working against him, and then I'll tell you about what's working for him. Against him, he's 38. Against him, his takedown defense kind of sucks. So you have a guy in Jordan Leavitt who needs the fight to be on the ground, has very good ground game, not the best takedown offense, but he's fighting somebody with poor takedown defense that should cancel each other out, right? And it might. But Kurt Holobaugh by far has the better hands. By far, not even close. Kurt Holobaugh is also insanely tough. Kurt Holobaugh also has very good jiu-jitsu. Is it as good as Jordan Leavitt's? I don't think so, but it's very good, certainly good enough to not get submitted. So, in Las Vegas, in the Apex, when the judges don't really give a shit about grappling that doesn't lead anywhere, I would think that a Kurt Holobaugh who's moving forward, throwing punches, getting the better of the striking exchanges, he may give up a takedown or two, but not get submitted. I would assume that in this world where damage and looking to finish is the only thing that matters, I would assume that Kurt Holobaugh might get a couple of favorable scorecards and win this fight. I do think Kurt Holobaugh wins this fight. If we take a look at the Alexander Hernandez fight, I thought that was a bad decision. I thought he won that fight. His takedown defense was the problem for him, but he landed 71 significant strikes, 106 strikes total. He did only score 36 points, and that is the problem here. Because if he beats Jordan Leavitt, it might be the same thing. I don't think he's going to finish Jordan Leavitt. So it'll just have to be him not giving up a bunch of takedowns, surviving on the ground if he does get taken down, and then just being the busier, better striker. So he probably wins a 50, 60, 70 point decision in DraftKings Fantasy. I'm going to pick Kurt Holobaugh here. I don't think Jordan Leavitt's going to get it done. But I don't know if I can spend $7,500 on somebody who I think is only going to score 70 points. Kurt Holobaugh is going to be the pick, and I understand why you guys hate that take. Everybody loves Jordan Leavitt. I really don't understand why. There's plenty of, Chase Hooper was a jiu-jitsu nerd who is improving quickly. We haven't seen those improvements from Jordan Leavitt. Just always the jiu-jitsu guy. What's gotten better? What's gotten better over the last 3 years in Jordan Leavitt's game? What? Hands haven't improved. Grappling hasn't, because it was already good. And the wrestling hasn't improved. He's the same guy he was 3 years ago. Go look at Chase Hooper. Not the same guy he was 3 years ago. Go look at Paddy Pimblett. Not the same guy he was 3 years ago. I don't know why I got an issue with the dude, but I don't. The jiu-jitsu nerdery. Then we have Dusko Todorovic. I think I skipped the fight, but we'll go back to it. We got Dusko Todorovic taking on Zachary Reese. Listen, Dusko Todorovic, here it is, okay? Here it is. Kill or be killed. This is it, man. Knockout. This is it. He's getting knocked out or he's knocking somebody out. And you know what? It is Zach Reese. Zach Reese has been knocked out twice in the octagon. One time he got powerbombed, other time just bing, bong, bang. Abdul Malik hits like a freight train, very good wrestler, fine. Duncan, all right. Honestly, Duncan's so sometimes he shows up, sometimes he doesn't. He beats Jordan Wright. Jordan Wright's gone, long gone. Inja Kawani, fast, powerful, fine. Maki Pitolo, gone, long gone. Dusko has no wins over anybody actively in the UFC, not one single win. And he's got a bunch of knockout losses. Yes, decent level of competition. Punahele, Inja Kawani, Duncan, Abdul Malik. And I think Zach Reese is going to be more the same. Dusko is a good striker. He can be dangerous, obviously. He's got decent jiu-jitsu, decent takedowns as well. The reality is Zach Reese is good at all of those things also. Yes, he got knocked out by Bakoyev, but we know Bakoyev is very, 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 very good. And the problem in that fight was Zach Reese played a little bit of a jiu-jitsu nerd game. Same with Brundage. Brundage powerbombed this dude. He had the triangle choke, and he was hanging on a little bit, and Brundage was like, I don't give a what? Boom! Power bombed him. That is what it is. Freak athlete in Brundage, where if you can get out of the first round, you could have success, but in the first round, it's going to be hell or fire. And Bakoyev, who quite literally is, we don't know how good he is yet, but he is very, very good. And in between, he smoked two people he was supposed to smoke. This might look like the Julian Marquez fight. Zach Reese does have very good Brazilian jiu-jitsu on the ground if Dusko wants to play down there. And he's got insanely powerful hands. So hopefully Zach Reese sticks with the hands, tucks his chin, lands clean, knocks him out the same way he did Julian Marquez. Zach Reese should be in your lineup in all likelihood at $9,200 because I think he'll score over 100 points. If we go back to the fight I missed, we have Allan Nascimento taking on Jafel Filho. Listen, look at this date. He hasn't fought since January 2023. We are more than 2 years removed from Allan's last fight. More than 2 years removed. And you know what? He is a decent fighter. He's got good takedowns. He'll come forward, decent pressure, decent hands. He's a fun striker. He'll grapple. He's very tough. He's never been finished. Plenty of decisions, plenty of cardio, but he hasn't fought in 2 full years. This fight, specifically, the one against Jafel Filho, was supposed to happen last August, a year ago. It didn't happen. So now here we are, rebooked. Jafel's a little bit closer of an underdog than last time. Last time he was a very big underdog. This time, still an underdog, not quite as close. $7,600. This dude will be in my lineup. Jafel Filho moves forward, gets in your face. He will strike with you. He does not care. If he gets to the ground, he's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu. His lone UFC loss was a short notice step up against Muhammad Mokaev, where he had Mokaev's knee facing in the wrong direction. He had Mokaev's knee backwards. The fact that Mokaev's knee doesn't rip to shreds is beyond me. I don't know how that happened. But Jafel Filho will strike with you. He will get in your face. He sets an incredible pace. He's got phenomenal jiu-jitsu. My one and only concern is that he has only been into one decision in 19 fights. One decision. This may go to a decision because Allan is very tough. He's been gone for 2 years, so we don't know what to expect fully. I doubt he comes back bigger, stronger, faster. Jafel Filho is going to be the pick, $7,600. Given what he's done, I will spend that money in my lineup. Then we have Ketlen Vieira taking on Macy Chiasson. This is another fight that was booked previously, scrapped, and now we have it booked. But this was booked, I believe, in between the Khanzad and the Kayla fight. And the first time this was booked, Ketlen was a tremendous favorite. Now, she's a tiny favorite in DraftKings Fantasy at $8,200. But on your favorite sports book, whatever the hell that is, Ketlen is a full-blown underdog. She is big. She is strong. She's not very fast. But what she's going to look to do is be big, strong, and powerful. She'll throw big, heavy strikes, grind you against the cage, drag you to the ground, and work from there. She is huge, and she relies on that size, relies on the strength, relies on the forward pressure, and for the most part, it works for her. She lost to Kayla Harrison, who's fighting for a belt next weekend. She lost to Pennington, the former world champion. Outside of that, she's beating the people she's supposed to beat. Santos is very good, very technical, long-rangey striker. Aldana, we just saw her Scarface sliced in half, but she's beating the people she's supposed to beat. Ketlen Vieira is big, she's strong, and she gets in your face. She could drag you to the ground and have some success. She's taking on Macy Chiasson. Macy Chiasson is a little bit hot and cold in her career. She does have some very, very good wins, though. This Norma Dumont win, specifically, where she had 6 takedowns, that was the first time we saw Macy sort of turn the corner. She was not supposed to win that fight. You can see here, $7,100 underdog. Norma Dumont's also pretty big, pretty good fighter. But Macy came in with a grappling game plan despite being a long, tall Muay Thai striker. Macy Chiasson wanted typically to fight at range, use that length. She is very, very tall. But then all of a sudden, she has this success with 6 takedowns. We've seen her wrestle previously, but not quite to this extent. She has 6 takedowns over a highly ranked, highly skilled opponent. Then we see the 3 takedowns in Aldana, then Khanzad. Mayra Buena Silva, she lost that first round, gets a cut. That fight ultimately is stopped because of the cut that Macy landed, but she did lose that first round. And she lost that first round. It was competitive because Mayra Buena Silva sort of got in her face, wasn't afraid to strike with her, wasn't afraid to grapple a little bit. I think Macy Chiasson loses this fight. I think Macy's very good, and this is the exact type of fight that she could pull out of her hat. Same thing she did when she fought Norma Dumont. But I do think Macy Chiasson, in all likelihood, gets held against the cage, dragged to the ground. That's exactly how Raquel Pennington beat her. Raquel Pennington ultimately got a submission, but it was the cage control, drag to the ground that ended up being the difference there. So I think Macy loses this fight. Now, if we go back, where is it? Back to Ketlen and see what she scores and wins. 80 points, 79, 84. There's our problem. I don't think she's going to quite cover that salary. I think she'll get some cage control, maybe a takedown. I think it's kind of boring. I think it's a boring fight. I don't see a finish. I don't see a wild amount of activity. I think Ketlen Vieira is just enormous. I think Macy's used to fighting people that aren't as long, as tall, or as strong as her. So I think enormous Ketlen slows the entire pace of this whole fight, and we end up with a boring fight that likely goes to a decision. I don't know how well Ketlen will score. If we go to Dustin Jacoby, he's taking on Bruno Lopez. Dustin Jacoby is a very good high-level striker. We've talked about him many, many times before. He went viral last couple of weeks when he said in an interview that the power he felt when he fought Alex Pereira, they fought in a kickboxing match, was ungodly. He said he had never experienced anything like that in the hundreds of kickboxing and MMA matches that he has had. That is not related to this fight in any way whatsoever, but figured I'd throw that out there. Dustin Jacoby is a high-level striker. He's got very good takedown defense. He's a very good striker. He can be a little hesitant at times because he's very much a do I feel the range kind of fighter, meaning he's not just going to get in the pocket and get sloppy. He will fight a technical fight. That is his entire skill set. And the Vitor Petrino fight was pretty competitive. You're going to see he knocked him out, but that's because Vitor came rushing in sloppy, and Dustin landed the perfect shot while Vitor was rushing in. But Dustin Jacoby, if he can defend takedowns and be the better striker, which he should be, he can win fights. And I think this is one of those fights. He scored 104 points when he knocked out Kennedy Nchukwu, 74 points in that knockout against Vitor Petrino. You might say 74 points in a knockout. That's because it was in the third round. He basically did nothing leading up until that. If we go back to a decision win, Mikhail Oleksichuk, 80 points. So he's a little hot and cold in his scoring, and he's taking on Bruno Lopez. Bruno Lopez won against Gaziasulov at the Apex. Jacob and I were there in person in January. He beats Gaziasulov by holding him against the cage. That was it. Held him against the cage, got the takedowns. It was all grappling. You can see he only landed 33 significant strikes. And the issue in this fight was Gaziasulov got tired, was exhausted, wasn't ready for the grappling despite being a Dagestani. We were sitting next to his coaches. We watched the frustration on his coaches screaming and yelling at him, being like, what the do something, you lazy bum. But Bruno Lopez exploited that. Moved forward, dragged, worked, got the takedowns, and won with 9 minutes of control time. That includes against the cage and on the ground. And he scored quite well in that win, in a fight that he was supposed to lose. Bruno Lopez can try to do the same to Dustin, but it won't work as well because Dustin's got far better hands than Gaziasulov did. Dustin's got very good takedown defense, plenty of cardio. I think Dustin wins this fight, so I don't think Bruno Lopez is a good underdog here. It's just a matter of if you think Dustin will score, the 90 points that you'll need him to score to be worth that money. But Dustin Jacoby is going to be the pick. Then we have Billy Ray Goff taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. This is somewhat of a short notice matchup. Both of these gentlemen were on the card already. Billy Ray lost his opponent. Ramiz lost his opponent as well, and they just slapped the two of them together. Makes sense to me. Billy Ray Goff, Connecticut guy. I am also a Connecticut guy. You know what you get with Connecticut guys? Toughness, grit, durability, fucking great looking, good personalities. All the things. Billy Ray Goff showing up with beautiful long hair, ready to scrap. The tough embodies. This guy embodies Connecticut tough. And I know Angelo. Connecticut it's one of the richest states in the country. Nobody from rich states are tough. Bullshit. Connecticut is split in half. The New York half, lots of money. The other half, we got some backwoods bullshit. That's the Billy Ray Goff half. The gritty half. And that is how he fights. He moves forward. He gets into a fucking fight. This dude will get in your face. He will slug it out. You see this loss against Trey Waters? That could have been a win. That was a close decision. He had a takedown, threw landed 129 strikes, couple minutes of control time. That was a back and forth war. A back and forth war. He moves forward. He's good at everything. He's not amazing at anything, but he is tough as nails. And this is going to be a matchup where I just think that forward pressure, that tough as nails, will be enough. Ramiz Brahimaj has been a bit of a submission or bust guy. You see 11 wins here. 10 of those 11 wins are by submission. Every single one of those wins is by finish. 10 of the 11 are by submission. He did just knock out Mickey Gall. Mickey Gall sucks. Mickey Gall has always sucked. And yeah, we saw improvements in the hands, but it was against Mickey Gall. So it's impossible to tell how good did Ramiz's hands get. But Ramiz is a high-level grappler, an accomplished grappler. He's won multiple championships and titles. He's at a good gym. I'm sure he works his ass off. But I just think Billy Ray staying in his face, touching him up any chance he gets, moving forward. Billy Ray Goff has a chin. A video is circulating of him before his UFC appearances, getting just head kicked, wobbled, didn't give a shit, kept moving forward, made it happen. Billy Ray Goff is tough as nails, and Ramiz Brahimaj needs, in my opinion, to get this to the ground to win this fight. And even if he gets it to the ground, Billy Ray never stops moving. I think Goff is just going to walk forward, stay in Ramiz's face, ultimately break him the exact same way that we have to go back to 2020, the exact same way that Max Griffin did without the ear thing. If you haven't seen this fight, go watch it. Ramiz's ear literally came off of his head. His ear was removed. Go watch that fight if you haven't seen it. Goff will be the pick. And in my lineup, we have the co-main event of the evening, Mateusz Gamrot versus Ludovic Klein. I'm going to tell you, just stick with your gut here. If you think Mateusz Gamrot wins this fight, then he needs to be in your lineup. It's just that simple. If you think he wins, he needs to be in your lineup because 131 in the win against Dos Anjos, 84 in against Fiziev. I mean, that was an injury, but you got the point. 86 against Turner, 107 against Sarukian, 103 against Diego Ferreira, 97 against Steven, 108 against Holtzman. If you think he wins, you put him in your lineup. Simple, end of story. And Mateusz Gamrot, if he gets the wrestling going, he wins. It's just that simple. His striking is technical, but the guy gets dropped in almost every fight. He's been dropped in 6 of his UFC fights. They didn't give him one in the Hooker fight, but Hooker dropped his ass. Mateusz Gamrot is not dangerous, but he will wrestle. He's got plenty of cardio. He'll rack up control time. He'll rack up takedowns if he can get that going. If he can't get that going, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble because Ludovic Klein is a very good striker. Ludovic Klein has great kickboxing, also good cardio. He's got good power. He's got good speed. Ludovic Klein's a guy that when he hits his flow state, he really can be a problem for a lot of people. And he may not knock you out immediately. Against Roosevelt Roberts, you can see $9,600. Huge favorite, tremendous favorite. And he actually wrestled in that fight. That type of decision-making does concern me. And Roosevelt Roberts is super long, very rangy. Ludovic was a little frustrated with that range, with the length. But the reality is Ludovic Klein's a very good striker with very good takedown defense. And as long as he doesn't shoot a takedown like we have seen in every single one of his fights, he should be fine. Shooting a takedown against Gamrot would be dumb as hell. And it's not because Gamrot's got such great jiu-jitsu you have to worry about. No, it's because Gamrot has such good scramble skills, you're not going to get the takedown. You're going to end up in a scramble, and you're going to end up on your back like an idiot. So assuming Ludovic Klein gets his hands going, stays in Gamrot's face, isn't worried about the wrestling, does what Dan Hooker does, like, yeah, I got taken down, pop right back up. Gamrot is not dangerous on the ground. Gamrot's not going to submit you. Gamrot will get takedowns. You pop up, he'll shoot another. So in Las Vegas, where the judges don't really care about wrestling or control time, if Ludovic Klein can keep popping up, defend most of the takedowns, get his hands going, I think he wins the fight. Therefore, I think he's worth the money. Look what he just did against Roosevelt. Obviously, actually, that's a bad example because of the 9 minutes of control time. Let's go back to Thiago Moises. He scored 89 points in a fight where he had 1 takedown, couple of knockdowns, which is not unreasonable to get against Gamrot. So this could look like that, 89 points. Whatever side you're on, throw that person in your lineup because if Gamrot wins as the favorite, he's going to score a ton of points. If Ludovic Klein wins as the dog, he's going to cover his salary for sure. And then we have the main event of the evening. Put Erin Blanchfield in your lineup. This breakdown could be that quick. I think she wins this fight, period. Erin Blanchfield is not the most well-rounded fighter in the world. The striking is just okay. Takedown's just okay. The grappling is phenomenal. But what she is insanely tough. Look at this Manon Farrow fight. She scores 54 points in a loss, lands 130 significant strikes with 0 takedowns. And that's because she never stopped moving forward. Her face got lit the fuck up. Lit up. But she never stopped moving forward. Just forward, 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 pressure, forward, pressure. And that is enough in 90% of these fights. It didn't work out in the Manning fight because Manning's such a high-level striker and tremendous that Aaron wasn't able to bully her. But this is a different fight. Macy Barber, first of all, coming back after more than a year away. Second of all, part of that layoff is because she had some wild issue. Some like, I might never fight again medical issue. I don't know. It was like a blood disease or an infection. I forget what it was, but it was problematic. It wasn't like, I hurt my elbow. It was like, was in and out of the hospital. They didn't know what the hell was going on with her. Like something like that. Ultimately, they fixed it, I assume, and she's back. Macy Barber is definitely the more well-rounded of the two. She's a good striker, good offensive wrestling, good jiu-jitsu. She's definitely, without question, the better, more well-rounded fighter of the two. But I think that Erin Blanchfield's relentless forward pressure, Erin Blanchfield's ability to just take abuse, Erin Blanchfield's ability to get it to the ground because of the relentless pressure over 25 minutes will be more than enough. She just beat Rose Namajunas. She just looked good doing it. Macy's the better fighter, just as far as well-roundedness is concerned, but I don't think it's going to matter here. I don't think she's going to have a ton of success striking because I think Erin Blanchfield is just going to move forward. Now, obviously, we have seen Macy land clean. That head kick against Amanda Hebos was beautiful. Something like that could happen here, but that was basically a fluke. Obviously, if we go back to 2018, 2019, it was different, but different levels of competition. Obviously, Aldrich isn't terrible. Robertson, not terrible. But the reality is, at this point, a year layoff, fighting somebody as tough and durable and good as Erin Blanchfield, I don't think Macy can win this fight. And I think Erin Blanchfield with 25 minutes to work, 25 minutes to potentially get it to the ground, potentially get control. We've seen her go 25 minutes. She didn't slow down at all. Erin Blanchfield will be in my lineup. Guys, check out the website. WeWantPicks.com. You're going to get access to insane tools like the simulator, the DraftKings optimizer, both regular mode or beginner mode for anybody trying to figure it out. Full access to every pick, every bet, every tool. There's no packages. There's no tiers. There's no upsell. It's $10 for quite literally every single thing that we do. And if you're new and we're the first sort of experience you've had with a premium membership, go explore. You can go check out what SaberSim is charging for their event simulator. It's $100 a month. Go check out what RotoGrinders is charging for access to just some of their stuff. Not all of it. Their smallest package for MMA is $50 a month. We're $10 a month. It's just me, Jacob, Josh the web guy, and then we have a guy that has built these tools like the event simulator. That's it. That's the crew. Obviously, we have Artem and Betsam, but I'm talking about the people building this stuff. Artem and Betsam are giving you their picks and their bits and their insights. So they're part of the family. But the people who just make this site work, just a couple of people, which is why we can charge $10 a month and not $100. WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Support your boys. We're going to continue to improve, make this product the quite literal best offering in this space. Good luck this weekend, guys. We just got to grit through this card, and then we have a phenomenal lineup coming up after that.